My brother Raymond, I go to football games. It was incredible. When I was a little kid going to games, Ray Fitzhugh, the ball carrier, touchdown, Ray Fitzhugh, a tremendous student, 3.5 grade point average from a private Jesuit Catholic high school. #1 running back in the state of Ohio his senior year. Scholarship offers from colleges throughout the country. Joined the Army and became an alcoholic instead. Discharged from the Army and continued a gradual decline. He was selling some drugs for a guy and shortchanged him, and they were shooting at him. And he remembers telling me, I remember him telling me, bullets were flying off the fence when he was trying to get away. I mean, that was his existence. It just was totally wasted. But my dad lived on the other side of town, and he just didn't have the influence in our lives, in my brother's life or any of our lives. My dad has his master's in physics. My dad is brilliant. He just didn't know what it took to be a dad. My sister was driving her 1976 Camaro, and she said, "Stevie, have you asked Jesus Christ to come into your heart yet?" I said, "No." She said, "Do you want to?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I've never done this before, but let's pray and let's do it." And she led me in the sinner's prayer. And that's when I accepted Jesus Christ in my life. And I remember being at the church picnic and following the pastor. And I kind of worked my way up to get right behind him. And I said, "Brother Ron?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I'd like to be baptized." And his words to me then were, "That's great, son. Jesus was 12 years old when he started his ministry." My pastor at that church, Arlington Church of God, is a guy named Ron Fowler. He was my father figure. And he was a pastor. He was also an All-American nose guard at Kent State when he played football. And the man loved on me. The man, when I was at state track finals, unbeknownst to me, he had been taking photos of me through the entire track meet, me warming up and stretching and competing, and he turned them into slides and invited me over to his house and took a picture off the wall, and it was a Steve Fitzhugh slideshow. And wow, that man poured into me. Even today, he still pours into me. My dad has 4 great-grandsons he's never even met before, and it's not even on the radar. My dad got his undergraduate, graduate, master's in physics, retired 44 years as a senior research and development engineer for Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. 3 patent awards, stuff that he's invented for Goodyear, 3 laboratories. He's a brainiac. He would, if he heard there was a new calculus course, he would take it. I mean, that's how my dad, I remember him saying, "Hey, there's a new calculus course at Cleveland State," and I'm going, and the job is paying for it. So he was always ahead of his time intellectually. But I have 2 fundraising golf tournaments a year. My dad golfs all the time. "Dad, come on, I'll fly you out, frequent flyer miles, you don't have to try, you don't have to pay for your flight." "No, son, it's too long a flight." I said, "But Dad, listen, it's not that long a flight, yada, yada, yada. I don't feel like carrying those clubs." I said, "Well, you don't have to worry about the clubs. I'll handle the clubs once you get here. I got 2 golf tournaments a year." That's all right. But what he didn't hear was his son saying, "Why don't you come hang out with me? Spend some time, see where I live. See my house, see my youth center that's been on PBS and been on television stations all around." People know about our connection, the pastor and I. And he always calls me one of his sons. So I was going to surprise him. So I got my daughters, and we drove to the airport. And I drew signs and had my daughters hold the signs. And so here he's coming off the plane and coming around. He has a carry-on, so he didn't have to check his luggage. And he sees these 2 little girls that has his name, Dr. Ron Fowler, Dr. Ron Fowler. And he said they must be for me, and he came up to and he hugged them. He didn't recognize them as my daughters. Then he saw me. He knew Steve, Nicole, and Siona. And so I said, "Where you staying?" He said, "We can get to that, son." He said, "First thing I want to do, take me to the house, your youth center. I've got to see your youth center." Whew. He didn't want to check into his hotel. He didn't want to get anything to eat. The first thing he wanted to do was see the ministry he heard that I had been doing. And that made me feel like $1 million, you know, and in contrast, for 20 years, I hadn't been able to get my dad to come. And here, he says, the first thing I want to do is see your youth ministry. I was riding to school, taking my daughter to school, and she mentioned, she said, Dad, I was just thinking. I said, what's that? She said, she's a sophomore, 15-year-old. She said, you're my best friend. I can talk to you about anything. And just yesterday, I was with my oldest daughter, who's 20. So I asked her, I said, well, what do you like most about your dad? So she says, you know what I like most about Dad? I said, what? You know, I don't know what she's going to say. She says, date night. Wow, she surprised me with that, because there's been times I've taken date night casual. There's been times I said, you know, we're scheduled for date night. Can we push it back to next Wednesday because I got something to do? And she said, okay. But life for me, the real fabric of life, those joys that come your way, that are unscripted, that are priceless.